Hey, the NRL is facing the prospect of a player strike. Their CBA hasn't been renegotiated, and the salary cap, although it has gone up by 25%, that technically hasn't been confirmed by the NRL, saying it is 100% set in stone, going up by 25%. Now, the Players' Union, the RLPA, have stated the salary cap concerns and the vagueness around it is not their main issue. There are three bigger issues, along with a whole host of smaller ones, that they want to raise their concerns about. The medical retirement fund. So when you retire, you've only got 12 months to get all your physio and surgery in that you require post-retirement. They want that length of time to be extended, which, if you're like a player like Andrew Fafita, you're kind of going to need more than 12 months to fix all the surgeries he requires. There's no way you're physically able to have 15 surgeries in a 12-month period and fully rehabilitate properly and leave a long, healthy life afterwards, because the amount of strain put upon your body is ridiculous. The amount of energy your body would have to go through to sustain itself in that period of time. So the players who are currently playing want to make sure their futures are more secure, which is fair, because a lot of the players do not stay in the sport. They end up going into business or into the trades. They end up having different careers that are outside rugby league, so they want to secure their futures in that sense, where they're medically provided for a longer period of time than they currently are. Players like Harry Grant during the World Cup were stating that they want to see the league minimum salary raised for players. There are those fringe players who are on low salaries, and then those up-and-coming young players who are around the elite squad but aren't officially part of the 25-man first-grade squad. So they're in that 30 to 35 player bracket, who are those other 5 to 10 players who float around the elite squad, who occasionally get called up if there's injury or suspension, but don't really get a regular NRL roster spot until they're maybe never. They're not paid a lot, and they want to see their league minimum salaries and see them given a better opportunity. If they do decide to walk away from the sport, at least they've got a little bit more money behind them to finance a career change and also benefit them, which I think is a little bit more of a sticking point, but I think is also fair considering that the NRL has stated that the salary cap is meant to be going up by 25%. And the other major sticking point, they want to see the NRLW get their first ever CBA, and they want to see the women's game get more protections than it currently has, so the women's game can continue to grow. And the NRL has stated that it will continue to support the women's game, so that one they already have, I think, a very strong negotiating lever against the NRL. The NRL, another thing that's come out from Christian Welch, who's the senior player at the RLPA, saying they're not really negotiating with us. They're not giving us any kind of negotiating side of things where we can sit down around a table and discuss the options that both sides have. The players have been very, very clear that these are their major concerns. There are other ones as well, but these are their major concerns, and they are willing to give ground on some of them, as in not get their full demands, but be flexible and negotiate and continue to have a positive discussion. The salary cap itself being vaguely put up by 25% but not set in stone is also a problem, because that will impact the league minimum salary, whatever it gets raised by. It will also impact the player medical retirement fund, which they want put in place for longer than 12 months as currently is. And with what's happened over the last 3 years with COVID and how the game has had to learn and evolve on the go, there's been a lot of upheaval in the game. There were some complaints from some players about how the bubble situation was handled in Queensland, and how maybe a little bit rushed it was, and some of the conditions they were in and how they were handled. And there were some concerns about that. The sacrifices the Warriors had to make, for example, and the imbalance between teams was a bit of an issue. So there's been a few things that have been rumbling on for a while, but the fact that the NRL has allowed the CBA to lapse and didn't get the salary cap put in place earlier, because it was meant to be in place by the 1st of November. It officially, while it's been raised and announced as being raised, there is no official, yes, this is now set in stone, so teams can now budget around that. And those players can negotiate for their next contracts around that. So there's actually a lot of uncertainty on the players' point of view. So we'll see what happens. The players are more likely, if they are going to strike during the trials matches. They start in less than a week's time, just over a week's time, at the beginning of February. And then, of course, you've got the World Club Challenge between Penrith and St Helens and that's obviously been put off for 3 years. So that would be a big blow if that game is postponed. The NRL do have some contingencies in place should the players decide to strike, but we haven't been in this position for 20 years. So we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.